I ask this question, simple question, do you believe in God? It is so confusing. The words I would use to describe the human's perception of God as confusing, overpowering, distant, obnoxious, vague, mental, male, I'm going back to annoying again, very annoying, and all of these things. And that's what people believe in. They believe in a being out there greater than them. You say God or Allah or whatever it happens to be. Suddenly, we're down on our knees worshiping. What is that about? But this is the one of the main fabrics of human consciousness, of humanity. The understanding of God is at best incredibly naive, and perhaps at worst infinitely corrupt on this planet. It is very yesterday. It is very controlled, and it is absolutely not accurate. But you can't tell them that because they'll kill you. And you can't tell them that because they get very flustered. They get very mental. The mental goes emotional. The emotional goes irrational. So the reason I bring this up on July 4th, Independence Day, is so that we, all of us here, you too, can bring in the new God. Not one that needs to be worshipped, not one that needs to be prayed to, not one that's out there. It is difficult to talk about this concept of God because it does go mental. As Tobias said one time, God is an experience. Absolutely an experience. You could talk about it all day long and it makes no difference. But ultimately, it's a personal experience. God basically, as somebody mentioned here, is consciousness. Just consciousness. But what is consciousness? Simply awareness. Without form or structure, without size, without power. No power. The modern concept of God is the concept of power. You can use the words interchangeably. I believe in an almighty God. I believe in almighty power. That's the real core problem. The direct correlation between God and power on this planet. In this new age of consciousness, the biggest change that can come about this planet is the release of the old concepts of God. One of the biggest reasons people fear death is not just the physical pain. What the hell happens when you get over there? What are the power dynamics in the other realms? Or what is God in the other realms? That's a big concern. Are you going to be able to stay under the God radar up there as you've tried to do down here? God hasn't done a thing for you, and that's the way it should be. Hasn't done you any favors, didn't save you from that potential bad accident, didn't bring the love of your life into your life, who you got divorced from anyway, didn't do anything, didn't make you smarter, brighter, or anything else. It's a weird God that people believe in. They're always praying. God doesn't answer prayers. God doesn't care. God doesn't even love you. Oh, see, I hit the nerve. I finally hit the nerve. Oh, there it goes. No, God doesn't love you. Isn't that a tough one? Now, that, when I say that, that'll show you your connection. You got to have God love you. You got to have God be smarter than you, bigger than you, more powerful than you. God doesn't love you. There's no need for God to be supreme. No need. Now, the mind is clicking away. Now, you're trying to fill a void right now. Fill the old God void. So what do you believe in? Where do you place this God? Just stop for a moment. Stop trying so hard to replace God. If God loved you, then you wouldn't have to love yourself, you see. You would be letting God do it. You want to define it. You want to put it in words. Ultimately, it's undefinable. It is only an experience. We will attempt to put a few definitions, but flexible definitions. I would say the first is simple. Simple. Spirit is simple. Has no need for complexity whatsoever. And neither do you. Neither do you. And the awareness doesn't have to be self-aggrandizing, doesn't need one to worship it, doesn't need to have rules and regulations. It is simply, I am. And this awareness is something you also have. God, I don't even like the word. I call this awareness, I call it Theo. Theo, would you write that down? But the eternal one, I always like that name. It's the eternal one. It was oneness, it's eternal, goes on, no time, doesn't take up space. Its simplicity is its oneness. And the origins of that word, the Greek word Theo, meant, and this is very important, is. It meant is. God is. That's all it meant, is. God is. And from there, we can go anywhere because God is. God is in everything and also kind of up there. God is singular, but everywhere. It's time for a new consciousness of God on this planet, and many will resist it. You don't have to go out and evangelize to anybody. It's just realizing it for yourself, and it's out there. It's one of the biggest inhibitors of freedom on this planet. God, religion, very old concepts. Once you get free of some of these old concepts of God, once it becomes an experience, a freeing, liberating experience, you start to understand how this all works. Not from biological, scientific, but from the God algorithm. And then suddenly you're in it. You're not outside of it. It's not a mystery how these things happen. You're no longer dealing with power, so you don't have to worry about blowing up the universe or hurting somebody else. You're suddenly realizing how everything comes together. And then you suddenly start realizing how you are the God algorithm, how you affect everything, how you create everything. Just stop a minute. It's just about being the experience of God, of Spirit, rather than having it is this vague mystery out there.